Your one click on the subscribe button makes a huge difference. Thank you for your kind support.
Frozen Hot Boys, originally titled Kang Hima Dukst, begins in a juvenile detention center in Thailand, where a group of boys with troubled pasts are learning to navigate life under the firm but well-meaning supervision of their teacher, Kru Kam. Each of these boys has their own story, wounds from familial neglect, bad decisions, and societal rejection that led them to this point. The center itself is home to strict rules but also serves as a place where teachers like Kru Kam try to rehabilitate these delinquent kids through vocational training and personal growth. One of the standout boys in this group is Jab, a fiery-tempered troublemaker with a reputation for getting into fights and challenging authority. Despite his rough exterior and defiant attitude, it's clear early on that Jab has potential. He's resourceful, quick-witted, and naturally commands respect from the other boys, even if he hides behind a defensive and often careless demeanor. Kru Kam sees something in him, something worth nurturing, and this marks the beginning of the unique dynamic between the two. The story takes a surprising turn when Kru Kam announces that they will be taking part in an international snow sculpting competition in Japan. The twist? Thailand has never seen snow, let alone produced a team trained in sculpting it. What's more, the chosen participants for this competition will come from Kru Kam's group of juvenile delinquents. To them, the entire premise feels like a joke. They've spent their lives being underestimated and labeled as failures. Why would anyone think they could succeed in something as bizarre and foreign as snow sculpting? But Kru Kam is anything but ordinary. Her intentions aren't just about winning a competition, but about teaching these boys an important lesson in discipline, teamwork, self-worth, and the power of dreaming big. The training is grueling and met with resistance. The boys, including Jab, balk at the idea of working together or even taking this project seriously. There's constant infighting, with egos clashing and personal insecurities bubbling to the surface. Jab, being the most vocal and assertive, often finds himself at odds with others, particularly Pong, another boy who is equally strong-willed but less rash. Kru Kam, however, manages to keep the team in check with her no-nonsense attitude and cunning methods. She pushes them to see the value of collaboration, even though it's no easy task with a group that has spent years distrusting others. What makes this part of the story compelling is how it dives deep into the boys' individual backstories. Each member of the team has experienced betrayal, abandonment, or a profound sense of failure, and these emotions manifest in the way they interact with one another. Pong constantly seeks validation because of neglectful parents. Eek, the quiet one of the group, struggles with anger that stems from shame and guilt over a mistake in his past. Another boy, Nui, hides behind humor and pranks to mask his fear of rejection. Through these layers, the audience comes to realize that this isn't just a story about boys carving snow sculptures. It's about them carving out a place for themselves in a world that has largely turned its back on them. The training phase also introduces humor and warmth. The boys bumble their way through practice sculptures made of mud and sand, improvising tools and methods while poking fun at their own lack of knowledge. This light-hearted element doesn't detract from the emotional depth, but instead balances it, allowing the audience to connect with the characters as they stumble, laugh, and slowly learn about themselves and one another. What's most striking is the way Kru Kam uses these moments to test her team and teach life lessons, often disguising critiques as jokes but always driving home her main point. The only way they can succeed is by doing it together. As the journey to Japan finally begins, tension mounts. For many of these boys, it's their first time leaving their hometown, let alone traveling internationally. The cultural shift is both intimidating and invigorating, especially when they finally come face to face with snow for the first time. Their awe at its texture and their awkward attempts to stay warm showcase their wide-eyed innocence, a side of them that starkly contrasts with the hardened personas they've developed back home. The snow symbolizes a clean slate, cold, pure, and untouched, a metaphor for the chance they've been given to redefine themselves. The competition proves to be brutal. The opposing teams, many of whom have years of experience, mock the Thai boys, and the judges seem skeptical of their abilities from the start. The pressure weighs heavily, and cracks in the team's unity begin to show. Jab, feeling the weight of leadership, lashes out at his teammates when progress is slow, reigniting old conflicts. At one point, it seems as though the team might fall apart altogether. However, Crewcom steps in, reminding them why they started this journey in the first place. Her words are not just about determination or perseverance. They're about finding pride in who they are and where they come from. Snow melts, but what you build with it can leave an impression forever, she tells them, a line that resonates deeply. This turning point leads the team to recommit themselves. Drawing inspiration from their lives back in Thailand, they decide to craft a sculpture that reflects their identity, a detailed depiction of a temple surrounded by elements of nature, showing the harmony between tradition and resilience. As they work through sleepless nights and freezing temperatures, their teamwork finally clicks. Each member finds their role, their purpose, and they begin to trust one another fully. The final act of the film is both gripping and heartwarming. The sculpture is completed just in time, and it's breathtakingly intricate, a testament to the boys' determination and creativity. The judges are visibly impressed, and the crowd erupts in applause. What's more, the audience sees how far the boys have come, not just as a team, but as individuals. Jab, once brash and impulsive, now leads with calm confidence, supporting his teammates rather than criticizing them. Palm, once desperate to prove his worth, now finds fulfillment in uplifting others. Even Nui, once a class clown, shows remarkable focus and maturity. The competition's winner is announced, and while the Thai team doesn't take the top prize, they earn a special award for creativity and cultural significance. The moment is bittersweet. They didn't win outright, but they achieved something far more significant. The boys, who started as outcasts and misfits, are now celebrated for their talent and hard work. For the first time, they see themselves as more than just juvenile delinquents. They see potential, value, and a future. The film's ending brings everything full circle. The boys return to Thailand to a hero's welcome at the detention center. Their families, some of whom hadn't supported them, show up with pride and emotions that words can't fully capture. Jab's father, a man who had always been critical of him, embraces him tearfully, acknowledging his son's strength and perseverance. The sculpture competition becomes more than just an event, it becomes a catalyst for healing, reconciliation, and hope. The final scene shows the boys sketching designs for new projects, this time not out of obligation but out of passion. Crewcom watches them from afar, her expression a mixture of pride and satisfaction. Though the focus was on the boys, her role as their mentor cannot be understated. Her belief in their potential, even when they couldn't see it themselves, made all the difference. The film closes with her words echoing in the background. Snow melts, but what you've built will live on in you. Thematically, Frozen Hot Boys explores resilience, identity, and the power of second chances. It highlights how society often labels people, especially the youth, based on their mistakes, without understanding the circumstances that shaped them. By placing these boys in a context as foreign and challenging as snow sculpting, the story challenges the audience to reconsider their own biases and assumptions about capability. The snow itself serves as a powerful symbol throughout the film, a blank canvas that, like life, can be shaped into something beautiful with effort and care. In terms of comparisons, the film shares similarities with classic underdog stories like Cool Runnings or The Mighty Ducks, where unconventional teams rise above the odds. However, its deeper dive into the psychological barriers faced by its characters sets it apart. Unlike many feel-good sports movies, this story doesn't shy away from showing the raw, often painful realities of its protagonists' lives. The balance between humor, drama, and triumph is maintained skillfully, making the journey feel both authentic and inspiring. In the end, Frozen Hot Boys is a story about more than just winning a contest. It's about finding value in oneself, learning to trust others, and embracing the idea that no challenge is too great when faced together. The boys may have started as troublemakers, but by the film's conclusion, they are artists, brothers, and most importantly, young men with a future worth fighting for.